A breathtaking night of football at Euro 2020 today. It almost felt like every single team was about to go out. It was like every single team was about to play England. The table changed about 5 times over the course of the 90 minutes. Hungary gave such an amazing showing, such an amazing performance. They really did. At one point, Germany were gone. They looked lackluster. They looked tired. They didn't look like they were going to score. Portugal were winning the group. Then they were bottom of the group. France started the game poorly. Paul Pogba masterclass in the middle, followed by 2 penalties from Cristiano Ronaldo, making him the joint highest international goal scorer of all time, the highest scoring European international football player at major competitions of all time. And the group of death, do you know what? The group of death was only made into the group of death because of Hungary. They did tremendously well to get 2 draws against Germany and France. And they were very unlucky, really, to lose 3-0 on the opening day to Portugal. Who knows what could have happened had Portugal not have won that game after losing and drawing their matches. But what a scintillating night of football. It was absolutely majestic. We're going to take a look at what that does to the round of last 16, who is going to be playing who. Tomorrow night, we have the most amazing debate on the channel around 9 p.m. We're going live to debate the player of the opening round, the group stages of the tournament. You'll all get the chance to actually cast your vote on that as well. I want your thoughts. I want your feeling. We're going to run some polls tonight as well. I'm not too sure what poll we're going to do yet. I'm not even too sure what poll we're going to do yet. I want it to be led by you, the viewers on the Football Terrace. But a bit of admin as ever. Please make sure you're smashing that like button. It's very, very important to us that you get that done. Please make sure you're following us on our Twitch account. Make sure you're following us on our Twitter account as well. All the information for that is in our description below. We have our first super chat of the night that says Portugal dominated France for 70 minutes. They'll take this. You know what? They were very good tonight, Portugal. Legitimately played some very good football at times. No doubts about that whatsoever. They did play some good football. But France, when they needed to be, were deadly. And, Pogba, his passing range from deep tonight was absolutely sensational. And, he almost scored an absolute screamer as well. Still no goal for Kylian Mbappe at this tournament. I'm so intrigued to see how these teams now do in the knockout stages, because it has to be said, none of these 3 teams have looked convincing. And we know that Hungary have made it difficult. We know that Hungary have made it hard due to the fact that, they were so hard to break down and beat. However, there has appeared to be some holes in all of Portugal, France, and Germany. The only crazy thing is, because of how well they do at international tournaments over the past 15 to 20 years, it almost feels ridiculous in any way, shape, or form to write them off. And I don't think anybody should do that. But we're now moving to the round of last 16. Germany versus England. And I think that's going to be the first poll. That's got to be the first poll of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Who wins? We're going to put it in here. Who wins? Germany or England? That's got to be the first poll that comes up in here. We're going to put Germany in first. We're going to put England in second as the second option. I don't really care who's the home or away team. Makes no odds. It's going to be at Wembley. England versus Germany. Who's going to win that game? That is the first poll of the night. That's the first poll of the night. Get yourselves voting on that one right now, please, my wonderful, wonderful audience. Let's do some of your comments that are coming through here. A lot of people shouting Germany for this, and I totally get it. Okay. Let's have a little look through here at some more of these comments that are being said. Member commented, Germany and pens, here we go, is what Sam Jones has got to say. And that could happen. That could happen. That could happen. England, Germany, penalties. Who knows? Who knows? Aaron here says, this Euros has lit up today. Big up Spain for the 5-0 thrashing of Slovakia. Benzema showed us why he's a starter for France up top. And I think it's Belgium versus Portugal now that will be lit. And it's the whole tournament now, as we say, is absolute. It's fire now. The tournament will really start to heat up. And I thought that it become a little bit stale. This group was always going to be amazing because of the jeopardy that was there and the quality of teams that were inside of it. And everybody felt felt that, as it were. But when we look now ahead of the last round of 16, I'm going to put this up on the screen. We're going to be getting a gal on very, very soon to have his day. We're going to be, when we start bringing a panel and guests on, then we'll start to really delve into a little bit more detail about who's going through, who's going to win what, etc., how people feel after that first round of games. But let's get this put up on the screen here for you, the viewers. As you can see here, let's put that in big. You can see Denmark, Wales. I mean, what a great opportunity for both those teams to get themselves to a quarter-final in this tournament now. It's really opened itself up for them nicely. Italy, Austria seems a fairly simplistic one for Italy. Netherlands, Czech Republic. They haven't quite decided yet. They haven't actually updated it yet, but with what clubs get who from where. So we don't quite know yet who Belgium are going to get. We do know that England are going to play against Germany. That one is absolutely for certain. And still, they've got to work out who France's opponents are going to be. So as soon as that is officially updated, and that's the official UEFA site, as soon as that updates, we'll bring it straight to yourselves. Jerome here, Jerome Pierre. I can't work. I'm assuming you're French. I'm assuming you're French with the name Jerome Pierre, but I could be assuming wrong. Says is coming home. And why would it not be? Why would it not be going back to France? Strongest team going into this tournament as well. Is it Belgium, Portugal? Is that now been confirmed? Have they actually confirmed that now? I don't know why UEFA haven't updated their website. That's a bit mad. So France, Switzerland, you say that's going to be Belgium versus Portugal. Wow, that's an amazing game. In fairness, though, unless you won Group F, you were always going to get a tough tie. You were either going to play Belgium or you were going to play England. So could argue, I mean, Portugal have come third and they've got a harder tie, and that's how it should sort of be. What's really interesting, though, is you've got teams like Wales. Like Wales have come second in their group, and they've got an easier tie than some teams that have come first in their groups. That's the nature of the beast. That's the luck of the draw. That's the way things go. Let's take a quick look here at the votes here. 66% think that Germany are going to win that final game, and you could absolutely be right. We're going to get a Gal on now to have his say with us. Gal, congratulations on qualifying for the next round. Another performance that wasn't scintillating from the whole of France, but you got the job done in the end with another draw. It's 2 draws, 1 victory. How did you feel about your nation's performance tonight?
Listen, I'm going to tell you this, Terry. I have a completely different take than everybody else, and I genuinely feel like this group, the fact that it's been so competitive, facing Switzerland, we're going to have an advantage. Portugal facing England, they're going to have an advantage. Germany facing Belgium, whoever they're facing, they're going to have an advantage. Everybody who finished in this group and came out of this group, you've been tested for 3 tough games, and you're going to have an advantage going into the next round over anybody you face because you've gone through the ringer. And this is how France got to a final. The past 2 tournaments, not playing well in the group stages and finishing top of the group and somehow getting to a final. Portugal, when they won Euro 2016, I think they drew a couple games, barely won until their last game of the group and scraped it by and got to a final and ended up winning it. Germany, when they won the World Cup, obviously they were scintillating and they destroyed teams. But this German team is not as good as that team back then. So this whole group was tested properly. And this, to me, is good for these players because they needed a reality check. They needed to be shown this is not going to be easy. This is not the same team. And at points, I was questioning Benzema starting because he was not producing at the beginning of the game. He ended the game with 2 goals. Paul Pogba, absolute monster game, in my opinion. I don't know what anyone else was saying, but Paul Pogba picking out Benzema from the halfway point inside his own half. What a pass. Also, the first pass led to the penalty, even though it was a soft penalty and a ridiculous decision. I'm taking it. You know me, Terry. When it goes against my team, I'm going to yell and scream, but when it goes for me, I don't care. I'm shameless like that, right? And when it comes to Ronaldo,
do you think it was for the record, do you think it was a penalty?
No, not in a million years. But we'll take it. We'll take it. Renato Sanchez, absolute baller today. I did not expect this from Renato Sanchez to outperform the France midfield for certain points of the game, but he was outperforming them. And Cristiano Ronaldo, once again, he doesn't miss penalties. What Lloris was doing for that penalty made no sense. Lloris, you're a senior pro. You've been in the France team for years, and you still make these silly errors. His concentration, he lacks concentration. He should have just caught the ball instead of trying to punch it. He literally put us in a tough situation. Early in the game. I don't know what he was doing, but hey, my whole point, Terry, is we're tried and tested. France is known for this. Portugal is known for this. This is going to be a good test for everyone else that they play from now on, because from here you can only face lesser teams. You face Germany, you face Portugal, you face Hungary, who's absolutely done amazing. I think Switzerland is easier than Hungary at this point.
Yeah, maybe, as we say. I mean, it's definitely been the toughest group for teams. There's no doubt about it. But do you know what's interesting? What you just said there about in the past, teams sort of struggling at the group stages and coming alive later on. It's exactly what a lot of people were saying last night about England in terms of starting slowly and building up momentum into these tournaments. And I think that we know that Belgium, we know that the Dutch is in the Netherlands, of course, and the Italians have been like a freight train really in this tournament. They're barring the first half in Belgium's second game. They've been very, very good. Italy been immense throughout. The next round now that we come to is going to be the acid test, is the proper acid test when you really start to see how good teams are. Because the thing with tonight was there was moments where all teams at all points tonight could relax. I even felt Germany, after they equalized the first time, relaxed too much because they thought, oh, it's fine now. Because when they did it, they would have been very, very aware that Portugal were losing. So it was a case of like, it's fine. We're drawing. We're actually gone back to second in the table. Let's relax again. And I think with knockout football, there isn't that. And that's the one issue with this third place thing so far is there's been a guarantee. And I do feel it's a little bit of a disadvantage to the teams that went first, because by the time it got to England playing yesterday, the last 2 or 3 groups playing, any team that was already on 4 points had known they'd qualified. So there was less pressure on France tonight. And I think that's one thing you said about France. Maybe they were caught a little bit flat-footed because they had already qualified, and no one can be flat-footed going into this next round of games.
We got there's a big issue though, Terry. Today, we had Lucas Digne play left back. We had, Lucas Hernandez play left back. And we also had, what's his name? Rabiot play left back. The left back issue is a serious issue now. I need to find out what's going on with that, because is somebody injured? Is because Lucas Digne came on as a substitute for Hernandez at halftime and immediately was taken off 20 minutes later. So that could be a serious issue going forward if they don't have an actual left back playing left back for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. It really, really is, bro. Stay backstage. We're going to get you back on with some more of the guys very, very soon. Oh, sorry.
What happened with your fantasy team? I want to find out later.
Oh, my fantasy. You know what? I haven't actually looked at my fantasy team.
You picked a lot of guys who did well.
Do you know what? No, because obviously when you did the unlimited thing, that was only for one round of games, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it went back to normal. But I think my team did all right this round. I don't know how well this round did or didn't do, to be honest. No, Havertz, actually, because I had Havertz in my team. So this round was my best round on 41 points. I think I'm on like 120 odd points altogether, which isn't too bad at this stage.
That's really good.
Although the guy leading the Football Terrace group, Legends United, on 218 points right now. Whoever that is, Legends United. I don't know if you're tuning in right now. His team is absolutely immense. We're going to get Jem on to have his say in a minute. We'll get you back on in a moment, Gal. Top man, thank you. Jem, what you saying, buddy?
Before I even get into Germany, before I even get into France, before I even get into Portugal, I want to say big up to Hungary, because they have impressed me the most in that group. Let's be serious. At the beginning of this tournament, no one thought that in the third game they'd still be within the mix. They took it to Portugal. I know they lost 3-0, but that was later ends of the game. They drew with the best team in Europe. Yeah, and then they go and put a performance like that against Germany. I actually wanted them to beat Germany. I really did. The way they were defending solid from the back, they couldn't break through. And that guy Cesali up front, that big, tall number 9 that they have up front, I'm telling you, Get him in the Premier League. Someone get him signed up, because he's a decent player. I'm not joking. But no, big up to them, because they've done really well. But in terms of Germany, I know I said to you yesterday, if England get Germany, France, or Portugal, they're stuffed. But watching Germany today, if they play like that against England, I think England will do it. I really do. I think this. I think they can be got at. I think their space is behind. I think they're so slow at the back. They lack communication, and for me, it's going to depend on what Germany turn up. Because if the Germany that played against Portugal turns up, then I think we might have an issue. But if it's the Germany today, England can really get at them. I really think England can really get at them, to be honest. And it's going to be a good game. I really can't wait for the England-Germany game. It's literally up in the air, isn't it? You could literally flick a coin on that one. There's no real out-and-out favourites on that one for me.
I mean, I'd always make Germany the favourites over England just because of history at major tournaments. England versus Germany in my lifetime has been terrible. I think we played them in obviously Italia 90, Euro 96, the World Cup in 2010. So it has been, it's mad. It has been 11 years since we played them. But the only thing you would say, in the last 10, 15 years, it's probably the weakest German side. However, that actually makes me more nervous because we'll go into this and what you'll find happening, and this is what you're going to hear from pundits over the next few days. They're going to build it up to a conversation that's going to be, well, we should be beating them because it's the weakest ever. And I think that's very dangerous when you're up against a Germany team that just have that know-how, that knack, that winning mentality in tournaments.
I think it's the fear. I don't think there's any, like, when I look at Germany, I don't fear them. You know, as before when you used to come up against them, you used to fear them. I think that fear factor of Germany's massively gone, and I just think there's so many gaps for them to be got at, to be honest. And it's going to be an interesting one. But in terms of France, do you want to read your super chat before I go into the others?
As an Irishman, I'm going for Germany to win the Euros. Come on, Deutschland. I understand that. Especially if they're playing England next. That makes sense.
In terms of France and Portugal, weird game. I don't know what you thought about it. I just thought it was an overall very weird game to watch. I thought the referee had an absolute stinker in terms of the decisions given on the penalties. The one from Kunde, the handball, was never a handball. I mean, what do you do with your hand in that position? You know, you're stretching to block a ball to go, going in the box, and your arm's in an awkward position and it hits it. Like, I really just don't understand that one. And even I thought even the Portugal one was slightly harsh as well. But it is what it is. And I think who have Portugal got in the next round? I think they've got Croatia, is it?
Belgium.
Again, 50-50 game, can go anywhere. But France, for me, in that game, looked like they were playing in second gear.
I mean, it's as you say, but France were, because France are qualified. That's why with this third place thing, because everybody knew if it was only the top two teams that went through tonight, I think you see a different France turn up. They could have lost and they still qualified. And for all intents and purposes, every game in this is easy enough for France because they're the best team there. So there isn't anybody that they fear. And the best two, on paper, the best two other teams at the tournament in terms of recent pedigree at winning major tournaments were in their group and they can't get them. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Jem, we'll get you back on with the panel real soon, mate. Oh, man, this super chat here says the winner of England-Germany has an easier run to the final. So looking at this here, this is England's potential route to the final. If we beat Germany, the quarterfinal is Sweden or Ukraine. And the reason that's happened is because, again, when we looked at the predictions that we did on the Terrace, no one was putting those teams through. If we were to get past Sweden or Ukraine, the semi-final would either be the Czech Republic, who we've just beaten, Wales, Denmark, or the Netherlands. Now, that isn't easy, but I think it's easier than other people's potential runs. So the incentive to beat Germany from an England point of view is gargantuan. And I don't want to hear, that looks an easy run after Germany. You've got to get past Germany first. But who knows what confidence that can bring us? Because if you get past Germany, a lot of people might start to fancy themselves. As a nation to put on from there. We've got a poll running right now. Who's going to win, England or Germany? We'll change that up very soon, and we'll look at some of the other big clashes in the next round of games as well. Keep your super chats coming in as well, people. We've got Daniel to come on the show soon. We're then going to go to your calls, bring the panel back on and start predicting some of these last 16 games. We're not really going to get into players too much tonight. We're doing that tomorrow. But I do want to say a massive congratulations to the greatest international football player to ever grace God's green earth, Cristiano Ronaldo. 109 goals. He's 1 goal away from becoming the highest scoring man in international football history. He's already the highest goal scoring player at international tournaments ever. No football player has scored more goals at tournaments than him. European player, that is. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal from Cristiano Ronaldo. So congratulations to you. And yes, these ones are penalties. But how many of the other 109 before that were actual goals, normal goals in relation to that? And of course, he has scored 2 goals from open play, the 5 he has so far at this tournament as well. And people were writing him off before the ball was kicked. My brother's here. Daniel's in the house. What you saying, mate? What a night of football.
What are you saying, Terry, man? Great night of football for sure, man. Yeah, man. Sport that keeps on giving to us. And like, I'm happy that because, there's been a lot of talk from a lot of people. Even I get some DMs, people are like, oh, what do you think about the Euros? Do you think it's kind of dead? The quality is not great. And I feel like tonight really gave us a bit of excitement to go into the knockout stages, because obviously I think this is the last day of football till Saturday. So obviously it gives us time. It gives us a breather, innit? It was a great game. Great games.
Absolutely, mate. And I think, the group of death for me was made brilliant because Hungary was so hard to beat. And, if France would have slapped them, France would have been on 6 points going into this game. If Germany would have beaten them easily, we wouldn't have had, if Germany were 3 up at half time, tonight wouldn't have been full of drama. Yes, it might have meant, well, if they'd have lost those games, they would all been safe. Do you get what I mean? It would have been an easy one in relation to that. So I'm glad that Hungary did what they did. I did feel a little bit sorry for them, sort of as a footballing nation, to not go through. It sets up a massive few draws now. You've got Belgium, Portugal, first of all, and England versus Germany, the old enemy. I mean, England playing Scotland and Germany, in back-to-back rounds is just amazing for the tournament, don't you think?
No, 100%, man. That England-Germany game. And what's so funny is today at work we were speaking with one of my guys, one of the senior guys, and he was explaining to me about 96, talking about the song Football Coming Home and whatnot. And he was like, to me, obviously, like right now, we haven't had the same buzz that we had in 2018, because 2018 just had such a certain buzz around it for the fans and everything, and the way we were going through, and then we beat Colombia on penalties and whatnot, and that just, if we beat Germany, obviously I don't want to be too optimistic. You know me, I've been the negative England fan, but if we beat Germany, that puts the nation on a standstill. Like, there'll be no COVID for a day. There'll be no, it will be crazy. And then you can start dreaming. And then you can start, because I've already said, look, as much as I don't like Southgate, you beat Germany and all is forgiven. And that's what he kind of does. He kind of puts blindfolds over our eyes because he gets these type of wins. And obviously, look, I'll be supporting the boys, whatever lineup he goes with. Of course, there's going to be that huge meltdown when he releases the lineup and whatnot. But we just got to go into the game positive. It's a bit like Chelsea in the Champions League run, man. You kind of start plotting. You're like, if you just beat Germany, do you know what? Everyone else isn't that bad. Do you know what I'm saying? So, man.
It is what it is. And you know what? I was thinking about this earlier, because during the game, there was maybe a 15, 20-minute period, maybe a little bit less than that, to be fair, but where England were going to get hungry in the next round. Now, our route to the final would have still been the same, because we won our group. So our route was to a degree already set. We just didn't know who were the order of the third place teams or anything. So that changed it a bit. But it was like, there's this part of me that was dreading it. Because I thought, if we get hungry and beat them, which we should do on paper, no one's going to praise us for even making a quarterfinal, because they'll say it wasn't a hard group and an easy last 16 tie. What I like about getting Germany is we need to beat a big team, I think, at a tournament to even believe that we can win it. Does that make sense? We have to do it. I think if we were to get easier teams to a final and then face a big team, I think we do a very early Andy Murray in a Grand Slam final where we just didn't quite believe in ourselves. I think it helped, if you get where I'm coming from. So I feel like if we beat Germany and galvanize that confidence, then for me, all bets are off. Then I think England could go and do it. Of course, there's still amazing teams left in it, but the route to the final has opened itself up nicely. But we've got to get past the old enemy. We've got to get past the Krauts. Brother, I'll bring you back on with everybody really, really soon so we can go through the last 16 with a bit more detail. Thank you very much, mate. I'm going to do some of your calls now. We're going to get Jem, Danny, KJ, Igal back on a little bit later, but I want to take some of your calls here. First up, Gooner Express is in the house. Give me your thoughts on that scintillating, beautiful night of football that we just witnessed.
Well, yeah. England are going out in the round of 16, and the Euros is coming back where it belongs, which is Berlin, because Germany are winning the Euros. I said it from the beginning. I'm going to keep saying it. Yes, there's been our moments where Germany have looked a little bit awful, where you might think that we might even go out the group stage. Example tonight when we're losing to Hungary twice. But yeah, I've always had hope that Germany will win, and I think we will. I think we've got obviously a very easy run, just like England do. Whoever wins that game for me will get to the final. I don't see the Netherlands really putting up much of a fight. I think they've got good players, but I don't think they've got enough defensively to beat either an England or a Germany. Yep. So I think whichever team can win that tie goes to a final. And that's obviously going to play on both teams when they're going into that game. That if we can win, we might get to a final quite easily. So yeah, I think it's definitely obviously a big game. Like you said, the history between Germany and England is massive. But just like what everyone else has said, shout out to Hungary, because I expected them to get 0 points, not score a goal, get slapped 3 or 4-0 every match. And they put in a fight. Where I'm still celebrating the goal for Germany, and they go and score straight away. Like no one would have expected Hungary to score a goal, never mind score 90 seconds after a Germany equalises. So shout out to them. And obviously, yeah, as I said, Germany will win the Euros, and it's coming back to Berlin.
Listen, I like the confidence, mate. I didn't know you were German.
Well, I'm not particularly fully German, but yeah, I'm definitely a German fan. So I've been backing us from the beginning, and everybody's been doubting.
What do you mean you're not fully German?
So I obviously I'm from England and I live in England, but yeah, I just like Germany. I have for years. I've always supported Germany. I've never really been the biggest fan of England. Not even just because we're not particularly the greatest of nations football wise, but I just don't like the way that the FA run England in terms of a nation football wise. So I always was attracted more to Germany, I guess you could say, from a very young age. So it's just kind of stuck from there.
Fair enough. I don't know what to say to that. Like, honestly, my grandparents would have beat me silly if I did that. Listen, each to their own, mate. Listen, Gooner Express, pleasure talking to you, mate. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. I don't like how our FA runs us, but I couldn't pick another country. Have any of you done that? Now, you may come from, or nationality-wise, you might belong to a country that doesn't play football or isn't particularly great at football, so you've adopted another nation. But do any of you support come from, live in, are citizens of a footballing nation that you don't support? I want that in the comments right now, and that's not having a pop-up. I've never, ever heard that. I need to know. Is there someone here that is born in Spain, lives in Spain, family is Spanish, but supports Norway? Do you know what I mean? Have we got anybody in here who is born and bred in Italy, mum and dad are Italian, but they support Scotland? I need to know. I need to know if anybody, the USA and Canada, you're exempt. You're not footballing nations. Do you get what I mean? You're not footballing nations, especially Canada. You're not. Do you know what I mean? America, you could kind of say, oh, they've been to a lot of World Cups. You've got to be from a footballing nation. If you come out and say, oh, yeah, I'm from, if you're from New Zealand or Australia, I'm telling you, I don't care. You're not footballing nations. You're exempt. I'm going to be really snobby about this. Do you know what I mean? I need to know. I need to know. I'm going to the comments. I'm Mexican-American. Cool. But who do you support? If you said I'm a Mexican-American and I support Poland, that's the shock. So who do you support, my bro? Who do you support? I really want to know. I'm from Jamaica and I'm a Brazil fan. I think that's forgivable because, with respect, Jamaica are not they're not a big footballing nation. Do you know what I mean? I'm from Trinidad and Tobago and I support Argentina. Again, I can accept that. Big footballing nation. It didn't change it. A big footballing nation. Like from like where football is everything. It's the biggest sport. See, I look at the Caribbean, for instance, and I would say cricket and athletics are bigger sports. My perception. If I'm wrong, please educate me. That's what the Football Terrace is here for. I live in Sweden, and I'm not going to lie, I have a passion, and I am a passionate Swede, but I support Argentina. Wow. Why? I need you to make me understand how you can not support your nation at that. I'm not having a pop. I need to understand in my belly. In my belly, I need to understand this. I'm from India and I support Germany. Bro, I get that. I'm going to be blunt. India, I don't look at India as a footballing nation. Have you been to a World Cup? Do you get my point? Like, you're not. So I get that. That makes sense to me, my brother. That makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. Wow. Okay, so I've been told here. This is an interesting one. This is from Marble. It says cricket has declined in the Caribbean because the Windies have been dead for years. Football is most popular. Most kids and adults follow football now. So I don't worry about following so much. In terms of national wise, what is the biggest, the investments in? What's the biggest push from the government? Maybe it is football now and it's growing. And I've been educated here, so there we go. I'm in the Netherlands and I support Morocco. Fair enough. There's a lot of this though. Nigerian and England in my blood. Okay. I'm British and I support Portugal. How? Tell me how you've done that. You got Wales, Ireland, 2 islands, right? England, Scotland. Why Portugal? I've got to understand this. Some of these I'm not surprised by. I'm from India and I support Germany. That doesn't surprise me. Any Germans in here who support England? Yeah, that's what I want to know. Do we have any Germans here who stand up and sing God Save the Queen? I need to know. I'm in shock, but it's a pleasant shock. I'm British and I support Wales, okay? I'm English and I'm England till I die. There's Jake there with an England till he dies, repping England till he dies. Let's do a few more calls here. I'm American and I support America. Go USA. Do you know what? I like that. He hasn't abandoned his nation. He supports his nation. That's cool. I like that, Bryant. I like that. I'm British and I support Hazard. Okay. Josh here says, only an Arsenal fan could do something like that. Support a country he's not from just because they can go and get the glory. I don't like our FA. I'm Irish, but I cheer Portugal. See, I look at Ireland as a footballing nation. And maybe I'm wrong for doing that. Have they been to a few tournaments? Maybe I get that. Again, at school in Ireland, it depends where you go. Like a lot of it's hurling and what's the other one? Hurling and Gaelic football are more dominant sports, are they not? I could be really, really wrong. I could be wrong. I'm talking here purely through what I've read in things. It's not even anecdotal. It's just an assumption. So educate me, please. Educate me, please. I'm from the USA and I support Belgium. Again, I congratulate a Yank supporting America. But if you do turn your back on it for footballing reasons, I don't blame you, bro. I don't blame you. We're going to do some more calls here. We've still got David to come on. We've still got Daniel, Jem, Igal to come back. We're going to start looking at the last 16 big time. We've got a poll running as well. A new poll is up. Have you voted for the new poll yet? Belgium or Portugal? Who wins in the last 16? I want your views and opinions on that. 56% are saying Belgium right now. Make sure you're smashing that like and share button as well, my wonderful, wonderful people. Get that done for us. Smash it really hard. Just don't break your phone. Do it hard. Do it really hard. Born in England, I'm an Indian and I support England in football and India in cricket. See, that makes sense, bro. That makes sense. Like my son is half English, half Irish. I'm not going to control what he does because I'm not that kind of parent. But I've already kind of been whispering in his ears, support England at football and Ireland at rugby. Do you know what I mean? And cricket, it don't really matter because our cricket team is the most multicultural team I've ever seen in my life. I've watched us do interviews before and there's South African accents, Irish accents. I'm like, that's cool. Don't matter anyway. But yeah, listen. So yeah, I totally get that, Dinesh. That makes complete sense to me. It really does. We're gonna do a few more calls here. We're gonna get to Lamin. Lamin's on the line now. What are you saying, bro?
Yes, Terry. Well, I'm going to start off by saying I support England because I live in England and I just want to be here for the vibes, really. I can't wait for that, for whenever we win the tournament. I'm going to be there, big garden, chucking bays and all of that. I want to say I experienced that still.
My G. You know what?
That's
That's
but
one of the
about the games.
Go on, mate. Go on.
Oh, no, sorry. You go. What are you going to say?
I was going to say, that's why I could never turn my back on supporting England. Do you know why? Because I feel like the one tournament I go, I'm not watching, I don't support them anymore. They're going to win it. And then I'm not allowed to celebrate. I turn my back. And I'm an honourable man like that. So, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, talk to me about tonight's games, mate. Well, what wonderful football we witnessed.
Oh, what a great game. Like 2 very, very good games here. So many great talking points. But I want to just talk about one man, yeah. And he's the guy that I just love to hate. Yeah, as a rival fan, I don't really like to um, I don't I don't like to give him too much credit, and that's Ronaldo. Because he played for United and he's the guy that I never liked him. But I have to just give him his flowers. His mentality, yeah, is just made of something different. And he's the one guy when we talk about world class, yeah. It's like him and Messi are just in a different planet that you can just see sort of just like carry his whole team. And I would have been a little bit sad if he had went out because I felt like he just deserved to be in that tournament. And I'm not sure if he wasn't in there whether Portugal would have had that in them to sort of like pick themselves up and then carry on from there. I do agree a little bit about what Igal said about Group F, just them having this massive battle in there and coming out and just how that's going to basically affect them. And that's my only thing about England facing Germany in the next round. They have to step up now. But I do think we have the players to beat Germany. I don't know about the manager, but I think the players for England and Germany, they are on par right now. And I think if Southgate was to just let the English players just like play with freedom, yeah, it would be a very exciting game and something that where we can all just look forward to. But I'm leaning towards England winning, yeah, but I'm also very, very nervous about it. And I think it's something we can win if Southgate just doesn't do a madness and just try to be too conservatives and just cost us the game really. But I'm happy we're facing Germany. I'm actually happy.
I'm happy about playing Germany as well. I really am. And that isn't to disrespect them, but I want to test. I want to be tested.
Yeah.
They're our biggest enemy in terms of footballing and sport, in a footballing sense, no doubt. And yeah, really excited about it. Lamin, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Top man.
No
Thank
worries,
you.
man.
We're getting a panel on really, really soon, people. Dougie United said, "Hey, Terry, do you think Portugal would be far better without Ronaldo?" There is a train of thought that says they could be, in terms of, you know, somebody a little bit younger, somebody with a bit more movement than he has at his age. But I know he scored 3 penalties, but he had to score them. Look how many penalties have been missed at this tournament already. Ronaldo scored all 3, and both of tonight's penalties were very, very, very important indeed. So it's hard to look past someone who's the highest goal scorer at the tournament, one of the highest goal scoring international players this calendar year, and you know, could be by the end of the tournament the highest goal scoring. He's the highest goal scoring player in Euros football history, the highest scoring European international of all time, and he's 1 goal away from being the highest international goal scoring footballer of all time. So it's very hard to look past him in relation to that. There's no doubt about it. I'm going to get on the show now. Matt Bryant's on the air with us all the way from the United States of America. Before I do that, make sure you've hit that like button for us, please. Just push this past 500 likes while we're live on the air. Bryant's here. What you saying, mate?
Man, yeah, thanks for having me on as always, Terry. Great job. I love the way you continue to progress and grow the channel. You guys have been working super hard. So yeah, there's all the plaudits there. I mean, what great games tonight. It was incredible to watch really all of these teams just go for it. For me, I think when looking at Portugal in particular, they're the team. They're the team in the group for me that I think has the potential to go really far in this tournament if their manager can get his lineup right. And tonight, he started some different holding midfielders in Pereira and Renato Sanchez. And Renato Sanchez was excellent in the match tonight. I mean, there's not really many players in that Portugal team that are able to pick up the ball in the middle of the park and use their athleticism and pace to turn players and drive at defenses. And I think he's earned, in my opinion, he's played his way into the starting 11 in the knockout stages. He has to play because they have so many similar players in that team that it will actually hinder them when they need to chase a game. And so for me, if he can get his lineup right, Portugal can go really far in this tournament. They can hang with anybody, but they've just got to really get their lineup right. And they've also got to do more in attack. I mean, Ronaldo, for how brilliant he is, needs help in that front line. You can't have, as a nation, a man pushing 40 years old carrying your attack. That's unacceptable. So Jota has to step up. Bernardo Silva has to step up. And if they can do that going into the knockout stages, they can do really, really well. And just really quickly as well, Hungary, so much respect. I think they did their country proud tonight. They were in it, and there were moments where they were going to be able to go through, and it just didn't happen for them. The quality of Germany just showed through because they needed to play their way in as well. So we got a real good treat in the tournament tonight. It was a really good joy to watch.
No, we definitely did. And your point on Portugal going to 4-3-3, they did look more. We spoke about that in the last game. They needed to add some ball playing midfielders into the team. I thought it was the right decision as well to drop Bruno Fernandes from the side, and they just looked more comfortable, and there was a lot more cohesion. They also looked more comfortable as players because that's literally the formation they've been in for a couple of years now in the way they play. I think it was a very big mistake from the Portuguese manager to change it at the last moment, and you would assume he would stick to that now. But Brian, thanks very much for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it, buddy. All
Absolutely.
the best. Thank you. We're going to get the panel on now because we want to kind of have a review and look through the last 16 element of this tournament now. So I've got this. I actually got a picture up in front of me that I've seen. I didn't actually get it off of the Euro website, which is very, very weird. I just got it off Twitter. It was easier to find because their website is a madness right now. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you can see it here. But that's the route to the final, as you can see. I'm going to look to get a better picture than that in a few moments. But you can see that there. Opened up for England if they can get past Germany. But you've got the other side. I mean, look at the potential quarterfinals that you've got. You know, Belgium, one of Belgium and Portugal. You're probably going to get Italy. You're probably going to have France, and you're Spain or Croatia, anybody's guess. It's going to be some really tight and very, very hard quarterfinals and semi-finals there. The other side, though, really opens up. You do have to look at that and say, I would probably say Germany are favourites. If England get past Germany, I would make them favourites, followed by the Netherlands. And then everybody else probably looks at it and thinks the same thing as England are saying. Wales might be looking at this, and the Czechs might be looking at it and saying, we've got half a chance here of getting to a quarters or a semi-final even. So we're going to review that with the guys now, bring them on to have their say. We've got, of course, Gal's with us still. David's here. Jem's here. Daniel's here. And, of course, man like Neeks as well. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Shout out.
Well,
David.
Well,
I'm good.
Did I not say I said Germany would come above Portugal? I said it, but we moved.
Yeah,
Let me know, David. It was a bit tight.
I mean,
Listen, I also said Austria would make it, and everyone laughed. So
Okay, fair enough.
I also said Austria would make it.
Oh,
someone's playing something.
Who's got feedback?
That's got to be KJ because he's just come in. Yeah, he's been muted till he sorts that out, bro. No earphones, you see? No earphones.
Listen, Germany,
England, Germany.
Yeah, I had the playback playing through my thing as well.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I went out to watch it. And I'm wearing the Germany shirt, obviously. And everyone was taking the piss. It was 2-1. Like I went because we Germany scored. I won't say we because Terry gets triggered. Germany scored, and Germany scored, and I was like to everyone, "Yes, got the badge out and everything." And they went down the other end and scored, and everyone's looking at me like, "You're an absolute idiot." They started singing at me, and then it was 2-2. So yeah.
Why
David,
do you support
that's
Germany?
A serious question. That's a serious question though, because who are you? Who's your First Nation? In fact, you shouldn't even support them. Who's the First Nation?
No. Okay, so England. So there's a good chance to go and watch the England-Germany game. So I will go and support England. No question about it.
What, if Germany beat England, you will support Germany for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
It does have a reason.
Guys,
I do have a legitimate reason. I do have a legitimate reason. Like it's not, I like Germany because Germany are the best. No,
you're born in Germany.
I've been to Germany like 18 times in my life. I've lived there for like months.
That's called a holiday, bro.
It's called a holiday. Cool, whatever. I speak German, so like I do actually have like an affinity to the country. So yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, look, it's an interesting one. It's such a great time. I think it's the best place for us to start when we look at the last round of 16 because it is the biggest game, and it's the biggest game because of the history, because of the history of the two nations. And I think that when I look at that, gets the juices flowing for me. who here? And I'd like someone to like almost raise their hand at this bit. Who here gives England a chance in this? Who thinks England can do this? I want to go to. I want to speak to Neeks about this then, because Neeks is kind of neutral to a degree. Why are you giving England a chance in this game?
Well, I said this from the start of the tournament. Obviously, I expected England to top their group, and I expected Hungary to go out. You know, credit to Hungary. They made the group of death what it was by the performances and the results. So it's a shame they didn't get through. But I kind of predicted an England. Well, what I said was Germany, for me, of all those 3 teams in the group of death, the big ones, is the team England should want to play, because I think it's 50-50. I think both teams are suspect at the back, and I think both teams have quality players going forward. Germany's midfield's better. I would say England's attack's better if they click. I think they've got a good chance. I think they've got a very good chance of going through, because both of the teams are just not neither team is elite, which makes it an interesting game, an exciting game. And I think England to go out there and just try to win the game. Don't be scared. Don't think, oh, we're the underdogs, so we're going to sit back. No, go out there to try and win the game. If you end up going out, you go out in it. But I think, for me, you beat Germany, you should be looking to the final. You should be looking to the final at that point.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I was about to throw out there, KJ. Like, if England can get past Germany, it's Sweden or Ukraine in the quarterfinals, or maybe even, you know, a repeat of the 2018 World Cup. The hardest team on paper we can face in the semi-finals are the Netherlands. We get past Germany. Would you expect England to get to the final then, based on the quality of our squad?
No, I would not expect England to get to the final. But do I believe we could with that run? Yes, I do. I feel like Germany are a team that, like Nick said, they're suspect at the back. And if Southgate gets it right and the teams perform, they are beatable. They've shown that they're vulnerable, and all it would take is a nice counter-attacking move or two to get those goals, and then a big defensive display. Because we know their midfield are going to be better than ours, but if defense and attack can work really well, and we kind of bypass the midfields kind somehow, we could actually do something against Germany. And then going through there, you expect to beat the teams in the quarters, and then the big one would be the Netherlands. I think Holland are a team that are very beatable, but they can easily
they're dangerous.
You know what I mean? They're also very dangerous. And it would be funny. It would be the battle of the bottle managers in the Bower and Southgate. If those two make to the semis, literally, I would love a shootout, and it would just be absolute scrap of like a 3-2 or something. I don't think we'll get that, but I think England would have a good chance against Holland as well. I feel like also they're basically us. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're very similar. They're very similar in where they are, and it'll be a 50-50 match. So yeah, man, it's exciting times, but obviously the biggest question and the biggest factor is, can we beat Germany? I think that we can. And I can feel like we can do that with Folstein Sterling, but we won't get into that.
Can I just say, Cookie? I like the way the draws, how it's panned out, in the sense that, yeah, we can say one side is the stronger side, one side is the weaker side. But what it means is that every game, anything can happen. If you had all the strong sides playing all the so-called weaker sides, then you kind of like, that's gonna be a win. That's gonna be a win. Whereas I think every game you go into, Sweden, Ukraine, who knows what's gonna happen? Yeah. Well, Denmark, who knows what's gonna happen? I think every game is 50-50 right now, other than maybe Italy, Austria. You'd expect Italy to win that.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And this tournament's shown us already. Like we wrote off so many teams as a panel going into this, and they find themselves there. And one team we haven't mentioned yet in all of this is another home nation, Wales, who, you know, they find themselves with a winnable game against Denmark. Definitely a winnable game, and who knows who they might face in that quarter final. I mean, they can beat either the Netherlands or the Czech Republic, in my opinion. They can. I think they can do it. Who knows? They might have a good little run. England Wales semi-final. Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine? Like, Gal's shaking his head. Gal, you're shaking your head like football doesn't throw up crazy results. Do you know why what's the other thing you're mad about, Gal? I'm only playing with that a little bit. Do you know what you're mad about? 2 seasons ago, there was a scenario where Arsenal was struggling. and I had to play Man City in a semi-final, followed by Chelsea in a final, and everybody wrote you off and you won it. So why, when someone says Wales can make a semi-final, would you say no?
Yeah, Terry, they've done that twice, by the way. They've done that exact path twice.
Do you get my point? It's not even a pop. It's like, I think sometimes as football fans, we've got to realize that these madnesses happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, why not?
I just rate Denmark more than I rate Wales.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
But
Fair enough.
Can I get back to when we're talking about roads to a final? If we actually look at England's road to the final, it's really good. But Netherlands have the better route with Denmark and Wales on that other side. That's a better route, and you could even say France on their side of the bracket, they have an easier route than obviously Belgium, Portugal, and everybody else. So the way it's looking right now, it's gonna be an amazing first round. It's gonna be amazing quarterfinals. But England, if you guys get past Germany, don't get too excited, because this Sweden team, everybody game by game. Take it game by game. Don't get yourselves too excited, because if you start thinking too further ahead, you're gonna get your hopes up, and it's gonna be harder.
Don't get excited about Chelsea, innit?
When France get through the next round, don't get too excited, because they just conceded 2 penalties today, and you could easily get knocked out by someone else. So don't go too far ahead, because you might get your hopes up for them to come crashing down.
I expect it's coming home to be number 1 in the charts if England beat Germany, isn't it?
I don't know why you guys took it so personal. I'm literally just saying.
You know what it is? Igal, I hear you, bruv. But if you don't get excited about what could happen in football, what is the point of watching? Like, I honestly, and I'm plagiarizing Neeks here, but that's why I'm going to give you credit. We have got to stop attacking people for being fans.
Listen,
it doesn't make sense, bruv. I don't understand why you wouldn't. Like, so you said everyone who's in the tournament, if you're not France, if you're not French, or if you're not a France fan, drop all your excitement and just know you're probably going to lose. What kind of attitude is that?
Listen, I said the same thing to Chelsea, and they won. So maybe it's just
the Igal judge.
Come on, but on the end of pop at you, there's going to be a big theme on the Football Terrace next season. We are going to be removing people that try to stop people from being fans. We have to stop.
Did I say stop being a fan?
Yes.
No, what did I say?
Don't get carried away. Don't get optimistic. Don't get excited. That's what football is. Do you know the build up to the start of the season?
What was the key thing that I said?
Hang on. No, at the start of the season, everyone's excited because this year could be our year. If you took that away from everybody, it'd be shit. You can't. Come on. That's football, bruv. Football is, we could do this. Come on. And England got to get You've got to have belief, man. Come on. Come on, Igal. Maybe you don't score.
I'm going to tell you this. If England get to a final of the Euros, whoever is on the other side has to be worried, because England's at home.
I mean, it's the same as the competition.
So if you guys get to the final, you guys are the favorites, no matter who you play. It could be France, it could be Germany, it could be, not Germany.
I wouldn't go that far. But if England do play
Netherlands,
you're at home. But if England play Netherlands in the semis, if we're saying it's 50-50, which I think it is in terms of player ability plus performance, and may add the manager into it as well, the fact that it's at Wembley, that tips it maybe 60-40 in England's favour. But if England get France in a final at Wembley, I still say France are favourites. But England deserve to. England got a chance because they're in a final. You deserve to be there.
Harry Kane needs to show up, though. We still haven't seen him at the Euros.
And we haven't seen Mbappe yet either. So let's calm down.
Mbappe, the first game versus Germany, 2 disallowed goals, absolutely tearing it up, but just wasn't able.
Hang on. He had disallowed goals because he run too early.
Yeah, you can't give him credit for that. Like,
man's giving him credit for being offside. He
also built up for the first goal. So
I understand your point, but Mbappe's a goal scorer. He ain't scored yet, right? There's no Harry Kane slander tonight, please. Jonathan Green here. Sorry. Jonathan Green here says, when we beat the Germans, we will win this tournament. Love the content, Terry. Keep it up. It's coming home. I love that. A bit of passion. A gal says, calm down. A gal says, stop it. Like,
imagine if it was Arsenal and we said to him, Miguel, you're on the road to the final. Calm down. Calm down.
KJ?
KJ, you do that every week.
But again, that's what I'm saying, again. You have been fighting fires for the last 2 weeks on social media, telling people that why are you trying to doubt Arsenal's going to do business? So you have all the expectations, but no one else can.
What are you talking about?
You don't even need to go 2 weeks ago. Yesterday, a gal came on and said, Saka this, Saka that. He's gonna be the player. Imagine we told you, calm down. Saka's not even gonna play the next game. Like, chill. Like, he's not even gonna do anything. Like, come on, man. You can have your hope. This is what hope is.
Listen, the reason why England have a chance is because of Saka. Anyways, let's continue.
You see, he gets a politician, bro.
We'll leave the England bit at that. I want to speak a little bit about France, though, because we know they're the favourites, but we have to be honest. They haven't looked great for large parts of this tournament. Should they be worried at all, KJ?
No. This is typical France. Knockout round France. That's a different proposition. You know what I'm saying? Like we've seen it. We saw it in the World Cup when they won it. They saw it in the Euros when they got to the final. They have this thing where in the group stage it's like kind of like they conserve their powers, just conserve it, just get through the group. And when it's knockout time, that's when we switch it on. You know what I mean? And it's one of those ones where they've got the players, they've got the manager. So we shouldn't. I don't think they will be worried. Don't just be all right, cool, on to the next game. We'll plan for that and play well. Because it's not like they didn't have chances to win today. They did. They came really close.
The second half is, I think, the France we'll see in the knockout rounds. And I think it's no coincidence that it's the last part of the group stage where they're kind of building up as the tournament goes by. I said very early, and a bit tongue-in-cheek, but a bit based on history. I said, like, after 2 games, like, Italy's peaked. Now, they may not have peaked. I don't know. Italy could go and win the whole thing, and Indiana has a party in the WhatsApp group. But if you start that well as Italy, not just in terms of results, but in terms of performance, you need to do that for 7 games, because how you played in the 3 group games, that's how you need to play in the knockout rounds. Can you sustain that performance 7 games over 4 weeks? Whereas France have been they ain't been great. But now they only need 3 or 4 games, arguably maybe 2 or 3 games, depending on who they draw in the levels. Switzerland next, potentially Croatia in the next round. They may only need 2 performances of note, a semi-final, a final, and they've won it. So I wouldn't be worried.
What it is for me, though, is that the likes of France with the knockout stages and that, you give them the benefit of the doubt in it, that they can start poor because you know what they're capable of doing. I think the issue is we want to give England the benefit of the doubt because of the players that we have. But because of what we've seen in the past and how even in our best tournament for a long time, which was 2018, we still were disappointed against Croatia in terms of the fact that we didn't get the job done. We started well, but couldn't get the job done. So a team like Italy now, in my opinion, the reason why, again, I can give them the benefit of the doubt is because of the manager that they have at the helm. Mancini's not managed Italy. This is the first tournament a major tournament he's managing Italy at, and he's passing with flying colours so far. Of course, they need to show it in the knockout stages as well. But the reason why I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt because of who Roberto Mancini is. England, for me, even though of course I'll be supporting England through and through, whatever. When it's kickoff time, like all football logic goes out the window and just support England. But like, let's put the football logic into it. England have let us down a lot of times. Of course, if we lose to Germany, can we really say it's bad? I wouldn't say it's bad, but it depends on how you lose, innit? So it's just one of them ones.
Yeah, to be fair, all we want as fans is a performance. Like it's showing that you have gave everything that you can in this game. Because if you get beaten by a team that's just better than you, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Like, Germany on paper, team and manager are better than England. You know what I'm saying? Like, overall. So if we lose to them, I wouldn't be annoyed. That's only if the performance was strong enough to say, you know what, Tyrone Mings,
Yeah.
Harry Maguire, all these players gave it. Everyone gave it the role, and they just got beat by a better team. It depends what England turns up.
England fans are just hoping for a performance.
There's a performance.
Can I ask you guys the question about the other side? There's a
Yeah.
gaping battle happening in that top corner between Belgium, Portugal, Italy, Austria. We know Austria is going to go out most likely, but we just have to mention them because they're one of the 4 teams in that section. So that semifinal route between those 4 teams, Belgium, Portugal, Italy, and Austria. What are you guys saying?
It's crazy still because
actually 50-50.
Yeah, the Belgium,
30-30 really, or 30-30. Yeah.
The Belgium Portugal game is going to be very interesting because I think both defenses are quite weak, and Portugal's one surprisingly. I know obviously Semedo, a lot of people they've criticised him, but I thought Portugal would have had enough to be defensively resolute, and they sometimes look a bit shaky. And Belgium are the same, so I think it's really going to be about the attacks. Which attack can click together and really get the goals when it really matters. And both Lukaku and Ronaldo, in my opinion, are 2 match winners. So it's going to be the battle of the match winners. Do you know what I'm saying? And obviously, Ronaldo should be there.
Well, I would actually say
Go on, Nick.
I would say Belgium's key is obviously Lukaku has to score the goals because he's really going to be really doing it. But I think it's De Bruyne or bust for Belgium. I think you look at the difference between when he for a game and a half, Russia, and the first half of, I can't remember who the second game was. And then he came on in the second half and in the last game. There's a marked difference in the way that Belgium play and the way that Lukaku even plays with somebody who's able to feed him the ball. So I think De Bruyne is the key for Belgium.
Yeah. So not Hazard. So Hazard is he in the
Morgan's
all right. Morgan's a decent player.
Hazard on his day is unplayable.
Let's stop saying this
but the only problem is that his day hasn't come in like 2 years. That's the only problem.
Remember, he, in the words of Yaya Toure, his bomb is very important to the way he plays.
When I was seeing them bum quotes, I was wondering what was going on. Do you know what I mean? But it's hilarious.
And you all went up me.
What's happened in this group stage? Because like Belgium struggled at times to break down resolute Denmark's and even Finland to a certain degree. Like they just struggled to break them down. And if Portugal can be that pragmatic team they were 5 years ago and go on the counter, you know, they could do something against those sides. The Italy one is interesting. I think Italy, though, are the interesting one because, of course, they smashed every team they played in the group stages. They were brilliant. But now the real test starts. It's knockout football. There's no safety net. And by the time they get to that quarterfinal, they're playing like a serious team. And that's when you're really going to see how good this football is in tournaments. And of course, I back the Italians all the time in tournaments to do well because they've got a pedigree and they've got a history of doing it. They've got brilliant players. They've got a wonderful manager. There seems to be a buzz and a bounce within their team and in their squad. It's a great corner of the draw to point out, Agal, because it's just it's almost impossible to work out who's really going to go through. And still,
I could see.
There was a few comments saying this is the English are arrogant. That's why one roots against them.
You know who the favorite is?
I was like, we're going to smash German.
One second. You're going
to be like, yeah, definitely out. I can't ever have that attitude. And if shocks are going to happen, why can't England be the team that creates the shock? Because no one thinks we're going to go through. We haven't beaten a team in a knockout, a big nation. So when I think big nations, I always think Brazil, Argentina, Portugal, Spain, Germany, Italy, France. There might be one or two more you'd throw into that. We haven't beaten a nation of that size in a knockout tournament since we beat Spain in Euro 96 on penalties. And before that, I don't remember the last time we did it. So it's been a lifetime, you know. You get less time in prison for murder than you do between England last beating a major team at a tournament and now. Like, it's a long, long time. So who knows? It could be the year for it to happen, but we're going to predict it. Sorry, go on, mate.
No, I was about to say, I think Italy are so susceptible to getting sucker punched. I don't know why. I feel like they get to the quarterfinals easy. But I feel like when if they came up against a Portugal or a Belgium, they might look the better team. But I feel like they'll get one punch in the mouth and it'll be like, oh, rah, like. So, you know, when a boxer gets like, when they're on form and then they get hit.
Yeah, one hit.
Andy Ruiz,
and then he was like, hold on a second, he hits really good, isn't it? Like, I feel like it'd be one of those where they just get shocked.
KJ, Mike Tyson said everyone has a plan when they go in the ring until they get hit.
Yeah.
So Italy might think, oh, we're cruising, fucks out Austria, and then they turn up and come up against De Bruyne and Lukaku or Ronaldo and Renato. Imagine again, another Euros.
Are we ignoring the fact that in their last 13 games they're unbeaten, and in their last 10 like competitions, I think they've scored at least 2-goal margins in all their victories.
Yeah, but that's the point.
Who they've played though? Have you seen who they've played?
Yeah, that's
like
the
when
point.
When you look at who they've played and you go through, you're like, even though one of those two probably should have scored a goal, it's not completely out of the question that they haven't conceded. However, when you go up against someone like a Belgium, then Belgium and you've got Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne can just play a pass out of nowhere that no one else on this planet can do, and it's 1-0. And suddenly they're 1-0 down, and they haven't done that since Mancini's basically been in charge.
Yeah, that's the point. Though the point is they've been so good. We said this about Chelsea before they went on and did what they did. What is it going to be like when they take the hit first, when they concede first? If that comes, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's that question mark over.
And Gal, your question is a fair question, but then Gal, we love you on the terrace, but it's how your logic flicks and changes. England are unbeaten in 9 games, haven't conceded this tournament, but yet you just want to write them off like we shouldn't be there. Like,
I just said, if you get to the final, I'm picking you guys over.
If we get to the final, you'll pick us to win it. I mean, you don't think we get past the next round. It's madness. Guys, we're gonna predict the group stages. So the knockout stages now. We're gonna put this up on the screen. It's part of tonight's show. Knockout round predictor up on the screen now. So, first game. Actually, do you know what? We're going to work in reverse. If I can get this mouse to move. We're going to start at the bottom here. We're going to start Denmark, Wales. What are you saying, Danny?
Denmark.
Neeks?
Denmark.
David?
I'm going to go Wales. I'm going to
go
Wales, yeah.
Denmark.
KJ?
For Christian, Denmark.
Okay, and I would have gone with Wales, but most votes have gone for Denmark.
It's going to be tight. It's going to be real close.
Yeah, for me is the closest one of the whole thing.
We got Wales wrong last time. Everyone laughed when I said that. We put on bottom of our group.
Wait, Terry. This one's different though. This one isn't because we think Wales are crap. This time, this is more.
This is like a football story, isn't it?
This one's like you said.
Yeah, is that Curry with that prime? Did they call you a madman?
All right, okay. Let's go to the next one. Netherlands, Czech Republic. I'll start off myself this time. I'm going Netherlands. KJ?
Holland. Oh, Netherlands, sorry.
Igal?
I'm going Netherlands. Clean sheet, too.
David?
Netherlands.
It was Netherlands. That's what we're going to put in. I'm getting a bit of echo from somebody at the minute. I'm not too sure who that is.
It's not me.
I think it's Daniel. Yeah.
On now. It's weird how it starts doing that. Right, the big one. I wanted to start with Daniel, but we'll come back to him while he sorts himself out. Neeks first. England or Germany, Neeks?
England.
David, are you picking your country?
It's coming home. No, it's coming home.
What country is
that? Coming home. No, it's coming home.
England.
Wow. Again, I'm always back England over Germany. I'll always do that.
Igal, England or Germany?
If Saka plays, it's England.
This guy's high, bro.
Vote then. KJ, England or Germany?
Oh man, I want to reverse judge this and say Germany. But my heart is saying England. But reverse judge Germany. Reverse judge.
Okay. England, what do you Daniel, who you going with, bro?
What do you want? Logic or heart?
Heart, bro.
Heart.
Germany.
So Germany, 3 England. So I could tie it if I wanted to. I'm not. I'm gonna put England in because I'm putting England in. I got a feeling. My feelings go wrong often. Having said that, I said I got Chelsea winning Champions League very early on, right? We're going to move on to Sweden, Ukraine. So I'm going to start with my vote on this one and go first this time. And I'm going to pick Sweden. Isak, because you know what? England versus Isak in the next round. KJ, Sweden or Ukraine?
Ukraine, man.
Gal?
I'm going Sweden.
Okay. David?
My dark horses, I'm going Ukraine.
2-2. Egal. Sorry, Neeks. Sweden. Down to you, Danny. Deciding vote.
This is a tough one. This is like Denmark, Wales. I'm gonna go Sweden though.
Okay.
Sweden
4 marks.
defensively, that's why I'm saying.
Because that's
You're Ramchuk and Yarmolenko.
Yarmolenko, bro.
with the top half.
Second top goal scorer, man.
Top half of it now. We'll start with Daniel again on this one. We're gonna go Spain, Croatia.
Do you know what? I'm
Say
going
it.
with Croatia, man.
Mm.
I don't respect Spain.
Who did you go?
Croatia. I don't respect Spain.
Yeah.
Neeks.
I'm going Spain. Alvaro Morata, hat trick of Messi.
David.
Even though UEFA love a good bit of money laundering, it's going to be Croatia. It's got to be Croatia.
I agree. I'm going Croatia.
Croatia. KJ.
Yeah, yo, I don't care, man. Spain are dead, fam. Yo, Croatia.
They're so bad.
Croatia are through then. They've already got enough votes there. This is an interesting one. France, Switzerland. I'll start with KJ.
Yo, Terry, just put France in. Don't even ask.
There's no point.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so we'll go to the next one. KJ, Italy or
Let's just put Italy in there too. Let's just skip that too.
No, have some respect for Austria.
Oh, Gal,
no,
please.
they're bad, bro.
none of
They're
you are
bad.
voting. Hang on a minute, okay. How can you respect a team and give them hope like that? How dare you give them hope?
They should know who they are and take it game by game. And not get excited.
Your place trash.
Nah, just go Italy.
You're mad. You know what I mean? It's so mad. Right, Belgium, Portugal, KJ.
Ooh. You know what? For agenda, Belgium.
Egal.
Portugal.
You said
David.
that with somewhat certainty.
It's Belgium. Goat goes missing.
Neeks.
I'm actually worried. Portugal's my tip to win it, but it is looking real shaky in the light right now, man.
You
I
gamble.
have to think with Portugal just because they're my
pick, yeah.
2-2
right now. Daniel.
Do the right
Wait,
thing.
KJ, who did you pick?
Belgium, bro.
Oh, okay. Belgium, man. Belgium. Give me Belgium.
Thank you.
Well, it's. I've got my vote, and I'm going Portugal. So it's 3-3. So viewers, the first. I'm going to average out the first 9 comments from now, whichever nation you want. I'm counting the first 9 that come through, and it's what I count.
Terry, why don't you do a quick poll and then go through the rest of them from the bottom and see where we're at when we get back to the top?
Oh yeah, I see. I think Portugal won, you know.
Oh, Portugal won.
No, I've seen loads of Belgians. I've seen loads.
Hang on a sec, guys. Sorry. So I'm going to do the poll because I can't keep up with that. My brain don't work. I just realized I've just tipped myself as a dyslexic to read about 9 words really, really quickly, even though they're the same 2 words. My brain just went, fuck off, knob. My brain literally said you're a dickhead. Stop it. Right. So we're going to shut the other. In fairness, that poll's already running, and Belgium's got 54% of the poll.
Oh, okay.
Belgium.
That's already going. So yeah, we're going to put Belgium.
May I just say, any other European tournament, Portugal don't make it through. That's what I'm going to say.
Wait, what do you mean?
Santos.
What do you mean any other European tournament? There's only one international.
No,
European
but I'm saying like any other Euros, they
last Euros,
last Euros, Portugal are out.
No, last Euros Portugal went through on 3 points.
Okay, the Euros before then. Sorry.
Wait.
They're third. They shouldn't go through. It's ridiculous. Get it out. Get this out.
Anyway, right. Let's carry on there. So Denmark, Netherlands. Daniel.
Denmark.
Neeks.
Whoa.
Just because of the story, man. You know, you always have
Oi.
that one team just for the story, man.
Listen, shout out Ericsson. I hope you get better. Netherlands.
That's cruel, bro.
Hey,
I said it like that.
who you going with, David? Who you going with? David?
I'll go with the Netherlands. I'll go with the Netherlands.
Igal,
Netherlands.
AJ.
Nah, I'm with Daniel. For Christian, bro. Give him power. It's
Hey.
Denmark, bro.
Let's
See-
go, Terrace.
Because you've done that, I've got to end this poll on here because I'm going to now have to run the poll because I'm going Denmark. I'm going for the story. I'm going for a repeat of 1992, maybe, unless they play England, and then I'm full on. I don't give a shit. About I don't care anymore. So we're going to run that poll right now. We're going to create that right now. We're going to just put Denmark. His writing is so small. Denmark versus the Netherlands. Who wins? In case I have to write who wins, in case some random turns up and they're like, I don't know what this poll is about. That's what I mean. But why is it a poll that just says Netherlands or Denmark? Netherlands or Denmark? Denmark. Who wins? That's in there now. Get your votes in. By the time we get to the top, we'll find out the results of that. So next up, starting with KJ, Sweden, England.
Oh, yeah. The repeat of 2018, baby. Give it to England.
KJ. Egal.
I'm giving it to England.
Thanks,
Mate, you sound so disappointed with that.
I forgot. Wait, Terry changed my reverse judge. Sweden. Reverse judge. I remembered. So it's 1-1.
Okay. So Gal's gone with England. David?
It's coming home. England.
Your boys, Neeks, who you going for?
Portugal. No, England.
England. Daniel, Sweden or England? You're on mute. I can't hear you. You can't unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can now.
Oh, okay. England.
I'm going England as well. They're through to that semi-final. I can't believe. I don't even. That's Mackie. She's scaring me. Seeing she's me up. France, Croatia. Daniel.
France.
Neeks.
Spain. France.
David.
France.
Igal.
I think France.
What was that?
Hello, Prince fucking Charles. Jesus Christ. Hello, France. What's France? AJ. France or Croatia?
France.
I'm going France as well. They're in the semis. Belgium, Italy, KJ.
Oh, nah, this is going to be a mad one if this actually happens. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to stick with my theory. I'm going to go Belgium. They're going to get punched in the mouth for the first time in Italy and they'll get shook.
Belgium there from you. Who you going with, Igal?
I don't even know how Belgium made it past Portugal, Italy.
Trust me again.
David.
I'm going Belgium.
So we've got. Hang on. So who did the first two vote for?
Italy.
It's 2-1 Belgium.
2-1 Belgium. I thought so. My brain went numb there. Neat.
Belgium, Italy.
Come on.
Belgium, Italy. Belgium? Yeah, I got Belgium.
Man, pick that on a whim.
We're getting Daniel now.
No, I had Italy in it, but obviously I think Belgium had more votes.
Why are you giving up? Terry can still vote.
Oh, I thought he voted Belgium already.
No.
He hasn't voted yet.
Oh. Does he really want to do another folder?
I haven't voted yet. Man. I'm confused. I'm actually confused now. Belgium are winning 2-1, right? When
it's 3-2. It's now 3-2, Terry.
3-2.
Who? I'm confused.
To Belgium. It's 3-2 to Belgium. And now you have to pick, Terry. So you understand?
Okay. No, I didn't understand. I didn't know who everyone voted for. I got so confused. All right, let's check what the poll's saying here. It got the Netherlands are winning it with 66%.
Yeah, just give it
by Denmark. In they go. And now we're into the semis, boys. We're into the semis now. I'm going to Daniel first on Netherlands.
Well, England are going to win this tournament, isn't it? The way this is going, this is too good to be true.
Way too good. This is basically Chelsea all over again.
Fam, put England through, man. Put England through.
Neeks, what are you saying?
I'm actually going Netherlands.
Okay.
Come on, David. Use logic.
It's
David.
coming home. It's coming home, boys. Simple. It's
England.
coming home.
Gal.
It's going to Netherlands.
Okay. KJ.
Reverse. I'm telling you, I'm reverse judging this all the way to. No, I'm reverse judging this all the way home, bro. Netherlands, reverse judge.
Oh,
This guy, he doesn't get what he just did.
No, I know I just did. It's another poll. I don't care, bro.
It's another poll. England versus the Netherlands. Who bloody wins? You can see I'm throwing three.
Oh, yeah, Terry, just pull a Putin and rig the votes. Rig the votes.
apparently, England have won by 90%. I don't know what that
But the poll ain't gone out yet. Right, the poll's gone out now, though, so we'll come back to that semi-final a little bit later. We're going to go and vote on the other one. So first up on this, KJ, and coming to you, Belgium or France to win?
Yeah, the French man them are going through again.
Igal? Okay, France. That helps. David?
France.
Neeks?
I mean, I don't think Belgium's getting this far, but if Belgium get to the semi-finals, then I'm going Belgium.
Because why not in it? Because they're there, innit?
They got this far.
Daniel?
Nah, N'Golo Kante, Ballon d'Or winner.
France.
Yeah, Pogba showed him up against it. Pogba showed him up against it.
That through ball to freak it, that ball to Benzema, flipping.
I told you already, Pogba can do what he can do because Kante allows him to do that.
But the thing is, Kante is allowed to do what he does because Pogba does what he does.
Kante owes Pogba a World Cup.
Exactly.
No,
listen. If Pogba wasn't there to be that creative, they would ask N'Golo Kante to do that, and they'd be upset.
Drink water. I'm not hearing it.
Oh yeah, and Pogba won it with a tour of Vidal and Pirlo, bro. Who cares, fam?
So you know, just so we know here, England have won the vote in the poll.
I'm telling you,
England have won the vote in the poll with 59% of the vote. 59%. In fairness, if you're watching, there's like still 1,500 people watching. Only 300 people have voted. So maybe refresh your stream and the new poll will come up. You might not have seen it. I'll give you a minute to get your votes into refresh.
Terry, just do it now. Do it now.
I don't want anyone saying we're rigging these things here.
Here we are.
Pogba, though. I just want to say big about Pogba. Pogba's been brilliant at this tournament. Two of the 3 games, he's been absolutely phenomenal in. He really, really has. But you know what's crazy for me? All those balls he was playing today, I was straight out there, right? I was straight out on like socials, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, everyone's talking about, since when has he been playing all these passes? 2 things I thought were, one, he plays these passes all the time at Man United. Secondly, it's funny how today no one's got an issue with him playing in a double pivot or in a deeper role. It's mad, isn't it?
But what's the reason for that? I keep saying, Pogba's great. Pogba's fantastic. And Pogba is Pogba. Like, he's one of the best on his day, and he should be in the world-class category. It's just because of his club form, like, and what happens at his club that he doesn't get in. Like, people don't talk about him. But the reason for that is because of his partner. I'm telling you now.
And I'm telling you, Daniel, the praise that Kante gets is because Pogba does what he does.
No, that's not true.
That's not true.
It is. If it's a partnership,
all I'm gonna say is what? Let me say 3 names: Danny Drinkwater, Nemanja Matic, and Jorginho. Just tell me.
Nicholas Benter, Vidal.
What are you talking about?
Chiellini.
You guys are completely losing the plot. The biggest factor about today was that pass was not only made by the pass, but the finish was extravagant. The finish, he put it on the inside of the post, bounced it off the post. No one could have stopped that. No goalkeeper would have stopped that. So let's be real. If that pass was played by to a Manchester United striker, who's putting that away?
Cavani, bro. Yeah, like Cavani that exists.
Miguel, that isn't the point I'm making. The point is that Pogba is making them passes on a regular basis. Pogba's performances at this Euros have been what I see week in, week out in the Man United shirt. It just gets ignored or twisted. The results are in, though. England have won the poll to go through to the final. They've won the poll to go through to the final here. We're now going to be picking who we think is going to be. I'm going to zoom out of this a little bit. Who we think is going to be our winner of the tournament. So I'm going to go to Daniel first on this. France or England, mate?
Sam, if England are in the final, I have to pick England. Like, what the hell? England.
Neeks?
France will not be winning the Euros this year. England.
David?
It's coming home in spirit because France are going to win.
Egal.
France are winning.
But Egal, you said if England get to the final, then
I know you're
except versus France. Continue.
You know, you reminded me of. Do you guys remember that brilliant scene in Ali G in the House movie where he's on the hunger strike and he makes him eat the chicken dipper and then he's like, starting again from now. That was Egal. Win. Oh, not if they play France. Oh no. Listen, I assume you're definitely going for France and Egal.
Yeah.
Who are you going for, KJ?
I told you guys, I've got a plan. I'm reverse judging this all the way to the Euros, baby. France, bro. France.
Le bleu.
No poll, bro. No poll.
If we lose 2 Euros in a row.
You don't even need to hear Terry's answer. Another poll.
No.
Another poll is recorded.
Vote against my own country. I mean, Bruno expressed, by the way, when they said he was German, I thought he was going to say, do you know what? I was a fan of the 80s sitcom Elvina saying Pet would have been a better answer than he gave. Just I don't
like the FA. I don't like the FA.
You don't yet. He goes, I don't like the English FA, so I picked Germany. It's like
what?
Enemies. You know what I mean? It's like saying I don't like my wife. Mother. I don't like my mother-in-law, so I'm gonna go fuck my best wife's mate. That's basically what you've done. It don't make no sense.
I think what made me laugh even more is he said, I'm not really German. Then you were like, oh, so then how are you German then? And he was
like, literally you're bro. I actually thought I'm not nobody said I'm not German. I'm half.
German.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'm half German. And that's why. But then he said, nah, I'm just English. I'm like, what's going on here then?
I was doing the express. He is English. Like he's everything. Do you know what I mean? It's like if he farts, he smells like jelly deals. He's so English. But then it's like, support Germany. I've never, and I kind of got the thing when people saying like, I'm from India, but I support, I think someone said Argentina. I'm from Jamaica and I support like a South American team. I kind of get that because no disrespect, certain nations are not, there's no prestige to the football in terms of they're not the major tournaments. Their nation isn't really spoken about outside of their own country type thing.
Listen, the Jamaican players were on strike because the Jamaican FA were doing a foolishness, isn't it, Neeks? Like, that's what I'm going.
Pay the man.
I totally get someone from Jamaica or someone that supports Jamaica having another. It makes kind of sense to me. But I've never heard of an Englishman or a Scotsman or a
Canadian.
Or a Canadian like disrespecting their country like that. It's like it's disrespecting your nation, your sovereign nation. It's terrible. Micah here says, has the eye test really exposed Bruno as an overrated player? KDB is streets ahead of him, is what Micah has said.
What did I tell you about Bruno before the tournament? He wouldn't have an impact.
What did you tell us?
He wouldn't produce any outputs in this tournament.
Yeah, but he's not asked to produce outputs in this tournament.
Can I answer that as well?
At the beginning
you also said Ferran Torres was a guaranteed nailed on.
Yeah, he did end up getting a goal.
You know what? Gal, what says interesting about the Bruno thing? Bruno Fernandes,
why are you laughing?
Bruno Fernandes is like a kind of approach in the in the Portuguese team is meant to have been a little bit deeper. He hasn't had a great tournament. Has it exposed him as an overrated player? My answer is no, because it's a small snapshot in the last 4 years of his career. And yeah, it was only a year or so ago that Chelsea fans were telling us that, Kante's past his best. Can't get the best out of him anymore. I was seeing it all on socials. Now they're talking about Ballon d'Or winner. And, the Premier League season will start again, and Bruno Fernandes will be flying and scoring goals and be getting raved about. All players go through these moments. I remember it was only a year or so ago where Messi and Ronaldo were on a bit of a downturn. Everyone's like, that's it. They've hit the wall now. They're past it. Ronaldo's just he's a top goal scorer at the Euros. I think I understand where you're coming from. I think KDB with the eye test has always been better than Bruno. I think KDB is a better passer than Bruno. I think KDB is a better creator than Bruno Fernandes. But Bruno Fernandes, because of an average tournament so far, you can't write off everything he's done in the last 3 or 4 years. I don't understand how that. But by that logic,
I'm not doing that. By the way,
I know you're not. And I don't even think Micah's doing it. Micah's asking a question. The point is, if Messi has a bad international tournament, how much of his career do you write off then?
All of it. Because that's what they do. Legit people will say, where's this World Cup? And then just write it all off like you're one of the greatest footballers ever.
Unless Messi wins the World Cup, he will never be looked at as a GOAT. That's
no, but that isn't my point. That isn't the point. The point is, if Messi has a bad tournament, you don't write off how good a player he is. Like, you can't undo what Bruno Fernandes is great at. Equally, who was the better technician, Lampard or Iniesta?
Iniesta.
So does that mean, like, fuck Lampard's goals then, because he's not as good as a technician as Iniesta? That means he's shit. That's what we're saying here. It blows my brain.
I was gonna say the point about Bruno is like it's literally the Sancho conundrum that we have in England. Like it's literally that. Bruno plays in a system where he is one of the best midfielders in the world. Like Bruno is one of the best midfielders in the world. Let's not get it twisted now. He is, but he's playing in a system or under a manager who expects certain things from him, and he's not really given that right now. The same way Sancho isn't really or hasn't really given it to Southgate. And despite the fact that, because even me and Neeks we agreed on the fact that get your best or create a system where your best players can thrive, basically. And Bruno's obviously not thriving in this Portuguese system. Whether you say it's the fault of the managers, like at the end of the day, it's his system. This is how he wants his team to play. So if Bruno can't fit into that, then he's going to drop Bruno, and Bruno's not going to look good. It's the same thing with Sancho. Sancho, we want him to play. We need him to. Well, I think we need him to play. But Southgate, it doesn't suit his system. And look, you just got to come to terms with the fact that Bruno's never going to really look good for Portugal at the biggest of tournaments if Santos is still the manager.
My thing is that the same people that call for Bruno to be dropped deeper from Man United and he has to play deeper, and we need him to have less goal contributions and allow other players to shine, blah, blah, blah. He's doing that in Portugal and they're calling him crap. So I just don't get it. Like, what do you want him to do? You know what I mean?
And listen, and again, like I've always said, I can rate Bruno Fernandes wherever I want to rate him. That doesn't impact your thoughts on KDB. It never should. It's a personal opinion. It's a personal preference. I think Cristiano Ronaldo is the greatest ever football player ever. All things being equal, that's what I think. It doesn't matter what you think. To me, in a sense of it isn't going to change my opinion. That isn't a disrespecting. It's where I think he is. But what I find is this. It's like Bruno's not having a great tournament. KDB is. Therefore, that means Bruno's overrated. But by what standard and by what measurement? He's the highest goal scoring midfielder in Europe 3 years running. How can you write that off? How can you act like that isn't a great achievement in itself? If you think KDB's better, great. But that doesn't make Bruno shit. I just don't understand this.
Terry, that's because nowadays you can only have one good player in each position, and that's it. Like no one else. Like if you're not that person in that position, you're crap.
There's 11 good players in the world.
Yeah, that's it.
One good manager.
Yeah, legit.
Listen, but if you base your opinions on an individual based on a tournament, you're gonna have a lot of players that are gonna be underwhelming in your team. So let's not get over dramatic on one.
I'm about to say, like, if you're talking about tournament,
or at the same time overhyped as well.
Yeah, I'm about to say, if you're talking about tournament, tournaments.
Because certain individuals have been doing it all season, have been producing very well all season, and their outputs throughout the season and the Euros has to be looked at, not just one tournament.
Yeah,
but when it comes to Bruno, this was predictable. We already knew that what was going to happen when he left the Manchester United team and came into a Portugal team where he's not the top guy. He's not going to be getting the penalties. He's not going to be the main guy that the attack goes through. This was going to be predictable. Anybody who expected him to be getting goals and assists every single game for Portugal, you clearly do not watch Portugal. You
No, and that isn't again. But again, I hear your point. But it actually stresses me talking about this now because it's. You know why? It's a tiring argument because whatever you say back, the goalposts then get moved. It's like, well, if he's moved into a deeper, if he isn't, as KJ said, if he isn't scoring an assist and he's called rubbish and crap, if he's scoring an assist and it's, well, what else can he do? It doesn't matter what Bruno does. There are certain people, there's a percentage of people, and Michael, the super chatter, I'm not putting you in that category. You've asked the question. That it doesn't matter what Bruno does. It doesn't matter what position he plays in. It doesn't matter how many goals, how many assists, how many key passes, or how often he loses the ball or not. They're going to look for every single which reason to slag him off, and it's boring now. It's boring. I rate certain players above others, but I've never said that Messi's shit because Ronaldo is brilliant because I have a brain. I've never said that Martial's shit because I prefer as a footballer Marcus Rashford. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that Verratti's crap because I think Paul Pogba is one of the best midfielders in the world. Anyone who thinks like that is just a dickhead. Anyone who actually has that polarized thought is a dickhead. And if you listen to pundits, journalists, whoever that act like that, then you're a prick for listening to people that are that stupid. You are killing your brain cells. Stop. I'm sorry, it just annoys me. It ruins football conversation.
Terry, so then if we can end that topic there, I want to ask you a question. We messed up a lot of our predictions. I'll be the first to say Turkey, we were wrong, but Croatia, we were also wrong because we did not think Croatia were going to make it through.
Don't say we. You know, don't say we. Don't say we. We.
I will say that that was right though in the fact that I'm telling you, there were. I think if I should have written it down. There were some predictions that we made on that day because I was part of the panel that I did not agree with at all, and they've all come true. Like I think there was the who did we say was going to come bottom? There was a team that we said was going to come bottom. Wales. Yeah, I think it was Wales. And like, no way. Like, no way. Not in that group. But
the thing is that
we all lied to about Turkey, innit? That's what we thought.
Everyone got lied to. Here's the thing, though. No predictions really and truly 100% come true, especially in tournament football. Like, it's impossible.
Predictor.
Yeah. Like, no one's predictions about anything ever. Like the start of the season, who's gonna flop, who's gonna make it. Everyone gets these things wrong, and it's like sometimes you guess these things right, and it's like sometimes you guess them right. It's like, oh, you're so knowledgeable, and it's like, well, how many do you get wrong at the same time? It is what it is. My point is just this: like you shouldn't. And I know some people say it's banter to like slag off other players. I get it's banter. If a Chelsea fan, if a City fan is saying like KDB is miles better than Bruno. Bruno's crap. It's when it's your own fans attacking your own players.
This is it, Terry. I saw today, there's like Portugal were dominating the first, or they were better in the first half. I say they dominated. Renato Sanchez was brilliant actually today. I don't think Gian Martino had a great game. He was just there. He did a bit, but he didn't have a great game. Man United fan tweets, Portugal look much better without Bruno. And Man United fans call him world class. Thinking, well, one, you are a Man United fan. Two, why are you? And I replied to him. So why are you going out of your way? Because Bruno's not playing, and neither are Man United. And no Man United fan tweeted you during this game. Why are you going out of your way to discredit your own player? But on the next scroll on my timeline, I saw Have Hope doing the same thing. But I expected from Have Hope. He's a Chelsea fan. You're supposed to, because if Kante was having a stinker, I'll be atting Daniel. Like, what is like, with your own player, why would you try and drag your own player under the bus for a reason? I don't see. Listen, Paul Pogba and Bruno hugged at the end of the game. They weren't dragging.
Yeah, literally. You know how mad it was that Man United fans wanted Bruno versus Pogba, so one of them would lose, so they can go in on one of them. That's insane.
That's what I'm saying. And people say, like, for me, it's banter when it comes from rival fans. There isn't anything a City fan can say, a Liverpool fan can say about Bruno that triggers me. It's when I see Man United fans do it. And it's the sort of, you can think KDB's a better footballer, but like I've said already, we need to stop consistently being analysts all the time and be fans. When you were in the playground at school, and I'm not saying we should behave like children, even though the irony is we do sometimes, it's like you backed your player. Do you know what I mean? You get your Merlin stickers out, be like, no, my guy's better than your guy. It didn't matter that my striker got 5 goals and yours was on 25. Mine was still better. And you gave some reasons. And it's like there needs to be an element of that comes back into things. And I get you don't have to think that Bruno's the greatest midfielder in the world ever. But as I say, it's that polarized nature of it. I'd always told you he was overrated based on what? He had 2 bad games on the bounce. Or he's gone through 10 games where he hasn't scored 9 goals. He's only scored 5. And then you do the research that, yeah, that's still more goals than any other midfielder in Europe in that time period. It's like, it's crazy.
I'm on, guys.
Sorry, Yagal, quickly. I think what's mad though is that, like, obviously every fan base, I think every big club, like, or the top 6 and that, they do it to a degree, but I think it's a Man United problem. I'm not even gonna lie, because they're the easiest fans to leech. I will tweet right now, say Bruno. I'll say Bruno stinks out of Manchester United, but Pogba doesn't stink out of Man United. And then you have United fans that are there like, this and that, like, you're right. And I'm just laughing at them. I love both of them.
It's crazy. And just the thing is, like, some people are saying KDB is better, but listen, that's fine for your opinion. I've never once, and KJ's been on many, all you guys have been on many streams with me. Have I ever said that KDB isn't world class and amazing?
No, you just said.
Yeah, we did.
It's like, you can think that 3 or 4 people are world class and then have a preference to who you prefer, who you like. And if you actually look, I'm consistent. Look at players I like the most. Ronaldo's, Rashford's, Bruno's. I like directness. I like that kind of direct nature of play. It's what I prefer. It's my opinion. It is what it is. Your argument of shit is just like it's just infuriating, because do you know what it is with me? I also like to have a debate, and I want to debate things that are real. And it's like the best one with KDB is that Bruno gives the ball away too much. Yeah, the same average per game as KDB, but we won't talk about that. Do you know what I mean? The thing with KDB is he looks good when he makes mistakes. It's like it's style, isn't it? You know what I mean? You know, sometimes someone can fall over.
Aesthetics, man.
Yeah, aesthetics. Micah here says your fan base is toxic, to be honest. Pogba versus Bruno, Martial versus Rashford. Big United fans like Said and co hating on Bruno. Look, listen, Said and those guys are entitled to their opinion, as I say. But it isn't about them, because if any Man United fan is hating on Bruno because Said does, I don't blame Said for that. That's that individual's fault for doing it. If Said started this whole thing, I don't think Said did start Bruno versus Pogba, but say he did. If every other Man United fan was just like, well, that's stupid, we love them both, it wouldn't be a thing. It's the fact that both Bruno and Pogba have a group of people that do this same thing. And it's not just Pogba FC or Bruno FC, it's both of them. And I just think to myself, it's a madness. Of course, you can argue over the best is, but for me, it should be they're a partnership. Let's put them together as a combined partnership and go, they're better than your midfield. That's how it always was. I don't know why that disappeared. We should be fighting other fan bases.
I fear we're going to get a Sancho versus Greenwood, because the reality is Sancho, Rashford, Greenwood initially are not going to be starting all the games together, because there's Cavani, there's Martial. And if one starts playing more than the other, one has more assists or goals by the halfway stage, it'll be like, see, that's why that one's dead, or this one ain't worth that much, and within the whole fan base, I'm just like,
literally, it's mad. It's getting to the point where it's like, can we even enjoy any of our players? I've seen people say Greenwood's not good. Greenwood's not good enough for Man United. He needs to go out on loan or get sold. And I'm just like, where is this coming from? Like, no, where is this coming from?
You know what it is, though? I honestly, I think some of it comes from people that just want attention. Like, they think, what can I start and what can I say? There's also a lot of people that have those, like, nameless Man United accounts and who I don't believe support. I've always believed, I've been spoke about this for years, I don't believe they support the club they claim to support, and they throw stuff out there because it gets within the fan base. But I said on the stream earlier about the Sancho news that came out, that deal was very, very close. And I literally said to KJ, I said, I get a horrible feeling. And what could be one of the things that turns a certain group of people against him is there's a big possibility that now that we're landing Sancho, we now sell Martial. So Martial stands they're already going to have their backs up because of it, as an example. And it might, as you say, they might just turn their attention, and some of them are not going to like the way it went wrong for Bruno. with certain Man United fans is that Bruno was used as a stick by Pogba's haters to beat him with. So that was the main thing. If, for instance, that didn't happen, he'd get a lot more. If the media hadn't then gone, see, this is what Pogba should have been doing, a lot of Pogba's fanboys wouldn't have gone after him. But obviously, I was having that conversation today with Johnny, who kind of put out a tweet sort of saying, like, the reason Pogba gets so much hate is because too many people overrate him. So the people that overpraise him are the reason that he gets hate. And I just thought to myself, that's a really weird way of looking at things. But by that logic, if I like Paul Pogba's haircuts, I'm the reason that Souness hates him. Based on that logic, and that's not how it is. It should be on. There's criticism and then there's hate, and if you see hate on somebody, it's nobody but the hater's fault that we should be condemning here. And I think that's what's happened. I think that's why I see there's this weird applying that equilibrium out there, as you say. If Pogba gets hate from certain groups of Man United fans, it's quite easy to check. Who do they rate? But they really rate Rashford. They really rate McTominay. They really rate Bruno. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to bide my time for one of their favorite players to have a pop. And it almost becomes like a fight of subliminals. Does that make sense as well? Like both sets going at each other. And it's just a case of like, they're all Man United players and we should just be supporting them as best we can, especially publicly. But, you know, I mean, criticize when you need to criticize, but it's gone crazy. Anyway, listen, I appreciate that. Jerome, I know that it's England versus Germany, but we're doing, you probably just tuned in. We're doing the round, but the results are in, gents. The results are in. 72% have voted for France. 72% have voted for France to be champions. So we're going to save and lock this in now. It's saved and locked in. That is our prediction that we have done here. What I did want to actually look at, though, is look at the tournament predictor very quickly.
0 points.
Look, yeah, we got 0 points. We got no groups right, as an example.
We got 0.
Yeah, we have to get everything right, apparently.
At least I got 14.
Hang on, we were all part of this, right? Because I put Wales through, right? So that's where we got. So that we put the knockout stages as being Belgium, Sweden. I mean, Italy there. Like so Belgium, Sweden, Italy, Ukraine are all through. France, Switzerland is an actual draw. Croatia got through. Poland flopped. Spain got through. Russia out.
We had Russia going through. Bloody hell.
I know we did.
We had to go through because of the steroids. That was.
Oh yeah, Peds.
No, but we had them going through as third place, and actually, them finishing in front of Finland, you wouldn't have said that was a shock when you look back at it. Well, we picked most of the team. Denmark got through how we thought they would. Literally, there's only 3 teams in here that we didn't get right, just not in the right order. But we got the majority of teams right. But look, we said England were going to go out to Portugal. Now suddenly Portugal are going out at the same time. It's crazy how it's changed. But there we go. All fun and games.
You save it properly because you still should get points if you didn't get the whole thing right.
Do you know what happens? Do you know what happens with the points on here? Everything takes a day to load through. So tomorrow, everything will be there. I think we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, I think we've got 11 points.
It's almost
I got Group D perfect.
Almost midnight. Just letting you know, Terry.
Yeah, I know. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, Tadej's backstage, so I didn't see Tadej there. Hello, mate.
Hello. Sorry. Hi. Sorry, I was scrolling through my phone. I'm sorry. How you doing? Sorry, someone sent me a text message, and
we're right near the end of the show, mate. Sorry, I didn't know that you were there, mate. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. I only just came on the show a little bit late. I came in earlier on and I went back because I've got visitors on my place. Anyway, big up to everyone in the panel. Yes. How you guys doing?
Yeah, all good, my brother. All good.
Yeah.
This is midnight tonight. Make sure you're tuning into Midnight Vibe. That starts in like 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
I've got to go and do some work on that now and set that up. Until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless. See you all again very, very